Everyone, gonna let everybody's audio connect, and while they're doing that, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Jersey Masson, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Project Sankofa SoCal Program Manager. Welcome to the next Black Educator Workforce info session. As we get warmed up, preparing for folks to pull in, get their tech right, I'm gonna ask one that you drop in the chat. Where you coming from? Where you zooming from? Where you be at? As well as how your day been so far. Let's hear it. Let's see some folks in the chat. Tell me how you doing today. Bay Area, what's going on, LT? Good to see you. Hi, April. We're gonna give it maybe 90 seconds. I'm gonna pass it over to my lovely colleague who will get us started. Okay, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right. Ramil from DTLA. Hello, I'm right down the street from you. Tracy, Bay Area, represent, love that. Kaylin from Windsor Hills, doing lovely, I'm happy to hear that. April in San Bernardino, lovely. Oh, out of state family. We got some New Mexico people in here. Sai, I want to say Sai. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And then Naya. Oh, Hawaii, lovely. All right. Well, before I pass it over to my colleague again, welcome. One thing I want to say before we get started is that we're going to save questions for the end. She'll go over the agenda and talk about when we'll have the Q&A. So until then, feel free to continue to engage in the chat, but we'll ask you to stay muted. And if you feel comfortable, if your technology allows it, we would love to see some smiling faces because you know it's going to be a couple jokes in here. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to my lovely colleague. Y'all give it up for the one, the only, Sayana Smith. Yeah.
Right. Good evening, everyone. As Jersey said, I'm Sayana. I am the Project Sankofa Program Coordinator. And Jersey's already done an amazing job welcoming you all to our space. So we are looking forward to sharing some information with you all and then answering any questions that you may have. So just an overview of what we're going to do tonight. So you're going to meet our team. You've met me in Jersey already. You're going to hear a little bit about our mission and vision, our program overview, our application overview, and then we're going to give you all a moment to ask some questions and get those questions answered. So our team, we have Dr. John Edwards on the call with us, who is our director. I don't know if you wanted to say anything or y'all just acknowledge
Hey,
that
y'all.
he's here.
I'm here. Hey.
We have Miss Nicole, who is the program manager for our NorCal region.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for being here. Shout out to the Bay Area.
Then there's me, and then Jersey, who introduced himself already. And then we have Dr. Ashley Barton, who is the Associate Director over our strategic programs and educational pathways. I believe she's here if she wanted to say hi.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
All righty. Next.
All right, now that you've met the team, you might be wondering who we are, what are we all about, what is our goals. So, Project Sankofa is a nonprofit organization, and what we're here for is to make sure that our educational experience and outcomes are enhanced, especially for Black students and scholars in racially isolated communities. So that looks like secondary schools, where Black students oftentimes represent less than 5% of the population. We see resource development, program design, and implementation, as well as research as ways to address the unique challenges that are faced by Black students in these spaces that they find themselves underrepresented so that they can thrive, not just survive. So what's the goal behind all of that? We want to eliminate educational disparities and build supportive ecosystems for Black students and educators to have that thriving environment to succeed through programs like our African American Scholars Project, our next Black Educator Workforce Program, NBEW, that's what y'all all here for. That way we strengthen identity, wellness, academic success, and grow a pipeline for Black educators for our scholars. So, along with that, you might be wondering what our approach is. So our mission is to be committed to building sustainable, pathways, pipelines for highly qualified Black educators who like to lead, teach, and mentor racially isolated students while amplifying Black voices, perspectives, and leadership across classrooms in California and beyond for my folks that are out of state. We do that through transformative approaches that support aspiring educators that seek to earn a master's degree in education and or a teaching credential.
All right, so what are we solving? So research states that Black educators are vastly underrepresented in our schools, and it's impacting student outcomes and community leadership. So with that, over 50% of US students identify as people of color, while only 80% of them or while 80% of the teaching workforce remains to be white, which is a problem. So we're trying to solve that. As of the 2020 and 2021 school year, Black students make up 15% of the population, while Black teachers only make up 6% of the US public school teaching workforce. So those numbers are not good. So we are trying to increase that through the work that we're doing with NBEW and our partners.
So what's the solution? We see you all as a solution. The new resident teacher program starts off with recruitment. So we want to find aspiring educators who are committed to educational equity, culturally responsive practices, and supporting Black students, especially those that are in racially isolated communities. Through that, teacher credentialing coursework is involved. So you take a 1 to 2 year period where you complete a hybrid coursework through partnering institutions, which we'll go over and introduce y'all to one of our partners later. Along with that, you earn a master's degree and or a teaching credential depending on the specific program, pathway, and partner. Hands-on classroom experience, not just the theory, but the practice. So learning as teacher assistants or paraprofessionals to where you get the hours and progressively take steps for gaining responsibility and ownership over planning, delivery, and lessons. Along the way, you're not just doing it alone. You're also getting mentorship and support, definitely through personalized guidance from experienced educators, along with that, career coaching, mental health services, and financial literacy. With that, you hope to benefit from the cohort model by having a group of peers around you that will motivate you to see it through. Lastly, but not least, on that note, we want to think about the community building. How do we network? So we build connections in a community of Black educators, along with allies who are dedicated to that educational equity. These pathways develop that leadership and amplify that long-term and sustainable impact in education.
So some of our program highlights is one, our cohort model. So all participants will engage in collaborative, supportive learning environment via our cohort model. So you'll start with the group and move on through the program with that same group. The hands-on experience, so real-world teaching placements, prepare educators to be effective from day one. And then the support and community. So kind of like Jersey mentioned in the last slide, the continuous mentorship and professional development opportunities to encourage your growth and resilience are some of the key program highlights.
All right, so talking through the journey in a little bit more depth. So the first year is all about residency, employment, coursework, and field work. So through employment, you'll get to work at a partner district or institution, learning more of the practical hands-on, what you'll need to be successful in the classroom, especially to support students of color and Black students in particular. Along with that, the coursework provides hybrid instruction. That way, with the partnering institution or credentialing program, you have access regardless of where you are or where you're placed. And then with that, the field work. So classroom observations, hands-on practice, and making sure that you have support and feedback from mentor teachers. Then you go into year 2. It's a continuation of that pathway. So thinking through focusing on leadership, not just being employed, but taking more of initiative and leading the sessions. Along with that, more professional growth. So sustained learning through ongoing professional development and coaching, bringing in extracurricular and supplemental information to make sure that you're a well-rounded educator. And then last but not least, your field work and your impact. How can you make sure what you're learning is reflected in the growth and what you're sharing through NBEW's research and alumni community? So why choose NBEW? We laid out a lot of the benefits so far, but if you aren't convinced already, it's a flexible credential path, right? 1 to 2 years, making sure that you get everything that you need from working now to working where you want to be when you idealize yourself as the perfect support system for students. This includes making sure that you have opportunities for discounted tuition, stipends, and housing support at our partnering institutions, the opportunity to learn while you earn, wraparound support, like we mentioned, the financial literacy, but along with that, application fees get reimbursed, so that's not a barrier. There's stipends to support the ongoing expenses that go along this path, and then from there, just making sure that the mental health resources are in abundance so that there's nothing standing in your way, right? Not even the stress that it takes to navigate these spaces. Culturally responsive training and support. So making sure you're equipped with research-based effective methods and practices that will keep you successful, especially working with Black students, to make sure that there's restorative practices and family engagement. And last but not least, that network. The community doesn't go anywhere but with you. So making sure you have the mentorship, placement, and along with that, access to a whole network and a program that got your back.
So are you guys ready to be catalysts for change? So the way that you will start is the program application, which many of you have already submitted through Recruity. And then you have interviews. You'll be contacted for interviews. And then we will start sending out selection notifications and then interview and placement. So to apply, Nicole, are we clicking a link?
I don't think you can click the screen, but if someone can drop it in the chat, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. So we'll put the link to apply for those who may have not already applied in the chat. But to ensure that you're best fit and support, all candidates needs to be applying to Project Sankofa, and then after an initial review, qualified applicants will be guided through the application process with our partner institutions, who you will hear from later. Just a few dates to keep in mind. So the priority deadline is March 31st. Interviews will start March 1st for the applications that have already started to come in, and then final selections will be made by May 15th.
That's Sam. Let me add just a little color there. And
Okay.
so with these deadlines, we want to clarify that the priority deadline is specifically for Project Sankofa. Some deadlines will vary. For example, through our partnership with Alameda County Office of Education, you have Alder Graduate School, which we will share a little bit about later. Their application is the end of this week. And then we have Teacher College, which is a later date. I don't remember that date, Tracy. You may have to share. We'll share more later. And then with our partner with the University of the Pacific, that date is actually April 15th. And so it just varies depending on the partnering institution, but we will share later. But we did want to name that the hard deadline for Project Sankofa is March 31st, because that gives us opportunity to make sure that we can do everything we need to do to prepare for the summer as you get into your program.
Thank you for adding that, Dr. Edwards, and appreciate you sharing that, Say. So, before we go any further, for the folks that are already here, I know Sienna already mentioned that some of y'all applied. If you applied already, put it in the chat. I applied. And if you haven't applied yet and all of this information makes you want to apply and you ready to be the change, say, I'm going to apply. All right, Nicole, we can go to the next slide. All right, so if you are ready, hopefully you're ready, you might be wondering, what does it take to be a part of a program like this? So first things first, we have our U.S. citizenship or authorization to work in the U.S. Along with that, you got to have your bachelor's degree and a minimum cumulative GPA of a 2.65 or higher in the last 60 units that you've taken, right? Along with that, required documentation, we want to see a resume as well as official college transcripts. So make sure you request those transcripts ASAP. And then what may be required from the partnership organizations or institutions that we're working with, a personal statement or a short essay, and or one or more letters of recommendation. So get your letters of rec and get your essays ready. Along with that, some additional information that may be requested. Based off of the review process, you may be asked to demonstrate alignment with NUBU's mission, something that we mentioned earlier, as well as the values of the partnering organizations. Some partnering institutions or programs may require an application fee. If that is required, then Project Sankofa will reimburse applicants just to make sure that, again, that is not a burden and that you are in accordance with the program guidelines. Next.
All right, so we've talked a lot about partners. So just a brief overview of our partners before I hand it over to one of our partners. So ACOE, which has the Alder Graduate School of Education. So they have a master's in education and California teaching credential. They have a residency-based model with cohort learning and mentor support. They have high need for SPED, math, science, and bilingual multiple subjects. We've had received some emails from students asking if we have access to any of these kind of programs. So this is a partner that you can consider. We also have Teacher College of San Joaquin. So they're also under ACOE, which is the California Teaching Credential. It's a credential-only pathway. It's a one-year program with the cohort-based coursework and mentorship. Then we have University of the Pacific. So it's a California single subject teaching credential and master's in education, and integrated credential and graduate degree pathway. And then our new partner that is joining the team later this spring is Cal State University Long Beach for our SoCal applicants. So it's a California single subject teaching credential completed during approximately the first 3 academic terms. They have the optional master's in education for participants who choose to continue until the second year. But additional details will be shared with you all as we finalize that partnership in the coming weeks. And with that, I would like to hand it over to our partner, Miss Tracy Lewis from ACOE.
Hello, wonderful people. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the invite. I'm going to just jump right in. I am the Director of Residencies for the Alameda County Office of Education. We are in Northern California. We are a county that has 18 districts. So we are stretched out quite a bit. This is our team. Of our 2 program directors, where we have actually 3 residency pathways, but 2 of those are just for teaching. Next slide, please. The structure of our program, all of our programs are 1 year. However, Alder's program offers a preliminary teaching credential and a master's degree in 1 year. Whereas the Teachers College of San Joaquin pathway is a credential-only pathway for the year of residency. You can choose to move into the following year to get your master's degree if you decide to. But for the residency year, it is a credential-only pathway. And what that looks like is basically you're spending three to 4 days a week in the classroom with a mentor. You are partnered with a mentor who has the same credential type that you are seeking. And you are with them from the beginning of the year all the way to the end. We start building relationships during the summer. And it goes all the way through to the very last day of school. The Alder program is generally a more in-person pathway, whereas Teachers College of San Joaquin is more hybrid. Most of the classes are in the evening. They are online. We do have cohort days that are in person. They do meet they meet less frequently than our Alder program. As far as credentials, they both offer single subject. They both offer multiple subject. What is unique to Alder Graduate School is if you are someone who is seeking a bilingual authorization, Alder would be your pathway for that. If you are someone who is seeking a general education degree and a special education degree, TCSJ actually offers dual credentialing. And yes, you can get 2 credentials in 1 year. So these programs are designed for folks who are working. for folks who are really driven and excited to get their credentials. They are accelerated programs. They are not for the faint of heart, but there is a ton of support for you as you move through these programs. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the money because that's what folks always want to know about. How much does it cost and how much help can I get? So here it is straight out for you. If you choose the Alder pathway, which is the credential and master's degree in 1 year, the cost of tuition is $23,970. There are some testing fees. If you get a credential in the state of California, you are going to have to do a performance exam. So there are some fees with that. Because you will be working in our districts, there is some fingerprinting that will need to happen. I will say for Alder, it says up to $600 for books and materials. Honestly, I would say about 90% is included with the tuition because a lot of online resources are available for you. There are some credentialing fees once you have completed the program. We want to be upfront with that, and then you have your living costs. As it relates to how am I going to afford this? The County Office of Ed does offer a living stipend of $45,000, $709. That is dispersed in 10 monthly increments. This year, we will also be offering a portion of that will be given during the summer for those who attend the Summer Institute. You have access to some state and federal grants. Grants are wonderful because you don't have to pay those things back. There are scholarships also available to you through Alder Graduate School. And on this pathway, you are eligible for federal loans. That's last because I usually tell residents loans is the last thing you want to have to take out. You can get through this program without occurring student debt if you set yourself up and utilize these supports. There are some testing supports that we do offer and some vouchers and things that you can be given to support you in meeting some of those state requirement for testing. Next slide, please. Okay, the other pathway with Teachers College of San Joaquin, remember this is a credential only pathway for the residency year. Thus, the tuition is much less because you are not getting that master's degree. So the tuition cost, if you just want one credential, is going to be about $12,500. If you would like a dual credential, it's going to be $13,500. There is an application fee that is non-refundable of $70, and the enrollment fee is $400. That $400 is actually applied to your actual tuition. They do offer a transcript evaluation because you can meet some state requirements through your undergrad coursework, and they are willing to go through that for you. Well, but there is a cost for that. On the other side of the cost is the support that we offer. All of our residents receive $26,000 over the course of 10 months to support them with with the cost of living. We also pay for the Cal TPA. We have vouchers for those residents upon request. We don't want that to be a barrier for anyone seeking their credential. Through the Teachers College of San Joaquin, they will stretch out those payments if need be, and those payment plans are interest free that you can actually set up with Teachers College of San Joaquin to ease the financial burden. Next slide, please. All right, and that's all that I have to offer. I think there's some other things that are available. I do want to share that we do currently have a classified to teacher grant, which all of our residents qualify for while we have funds. Currently, that's an additional $4,500 that all of our residents are eligible for. $2,000 comes to you as a living stipend as you matriculate through the program, and $2,500 is actually sent to the college to support your cost of tuition. All right.
All right, Tracy, thank you for all of that amazing information. Y'all heard it here first. Give it up for Tracy in the Outer Graduate School of Education. From here, if you notice on the first three, uh, Tracy took care of all of that. So I'm going to focus on these last two, our partnership with University of Pacific as well as CSU Long Beach. With that, with the University of Pacific, under the program type, they have a credential and a master's in education program with the estimated tuition of 41 to 44 and a half K. With that, their stipend varies by aid eligibility. And what's included in the cost is their tuition for 32 to 35 units at $1,208 per unit, as well as required university fees, student health insurance, if not waived. You got that. Lastly, some key notes and some variability about University of Pacific is that cost varies based off units and insurance status. So, kind of that last column that I talked through. For CSU Long Beach, as Sayana mentioned earlier, all of this is in the works. Here's the information about their program, their credential and master's in education, and or master's in education, I should say. For the credential, it is around $9,380 per year for the tuition. For the master's, it is around $8,064 per year in tuition, with the total cost being somewhere around $23,000 to $29,000 per year. All right. What type of stipends are involved? Stipends and benefits are under exploration. As soon as we know, so will you, as well as kind of talking through the tuition fees, etc. That was built into the estimated cost of the 23 to 29,000. For some key notes, their credential and masters may be combined. However, the cost will vary based on enrollment status, housing choice, residency, and how the benefits are available. All right.
Hey, Jersey, I just wanted to add a little bit more around CSU Long Beach. As we are in the early stages of getting very clear around stipends and benefits, some of the things that we are really hoping to do is even offer some of our program participants the opportunity to work at the university as graduate assistants. And so we are just exploring some things which also include discounted housing on the campus. And so the reason why you see that this is in the early stage is because that those are some things we were talking through. We are also in a partnership with a school district, which they have housing within their campus. And so we are in the early stages of locking in those things too. But again, this is specific to the LA and Long Beach area.
Thank you, Dr. Edward C. Project Sankofa wants what's best for you. So we negotiated and talking through what extra benefits we could add to this in the future. Thank you. Next slide. All right.
And
So
just,
go ahead. You got it.
and to wrap it up, there's some important dates and deadlines. So, as mentioned, the graduate school application closes this Friday. Please, make sure that you apply to that application. All of our NorCal applicants should have received an email a few days ago with the application reminder and the links to apply. And that's the same for TCSJ. That application is open right now. Please apply. Their interviews, their final interviews will take place next month. And then for the University of Pacific, their key dates are March 1st through April 24th. The application deadline is April 13th. Interviews will continue until slots are filled, and then CSU Long Beach. So those dates are all coming soon. So be on the lookout for that information from us. Please feel free to take a picture of the screen if you want to just make sure you have access to the important dates and deadlines. But I believe that is all on our.
Hey, Sayana, I also dropped, I hope this worked, but I tried this for the first time, the FAQ in the chat. Do y'all see that? Okay, thank God for that. So the
Yes.
dates is also in that document. I believe, Tracy, and please correct me on this, March 13th is Alder interviews.
We have a few days of interviews because we have a lot of applicants for this pathway. Just make sure that your application is in by this Friday.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.